What's up, friends? I'm your host, Amanda Smith, and welcome to the Girl Gang Podcast, the show where I chat with inspiring women about business, life's challenges, and building community, because we all need it. If you need a girl gang, this podcast is for you. All right, guys, welcome to the Girl Gang Podcast. Today we have Ariel Adams, the money realtor. So excited to have you on the show. Welcome, Ariel.
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
What's going on? Let's just get started and kick this off. Although you are, I feel, Insta famous, let's share with people. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes. So again, I'm Ariel. I do a couple things. Besides working my 9 to 5, I started this Instagram page. It was focused on real estate at first, but then it kind of evolved over time to talking about personal finance tips and then talking about how you can leverage Instagram to make more money for yourself. So whether that's, you're offering a product or a service or whatever, I help people scale their offerings through Instagram, through social media. I do my one-on-one coaching. I have courses, ebooks, and resources for anyone that's interested in that. Because when I started out, I put out this ebook for $20 at around 1,000 followers. And that ebook grossed $100,000 in 90 days. So from there, I was like, wow, I think I found the formula, and I really want to help others implement what I know. And so that's when I created my follow-up course called Selling from Scratch. So people can literally just copy and paste the same blueprint and start monetizing their Instagrams and scaling to 6 figures.
Love it. That is probably one of the things that sticks out to everybody when they see you, because it's in your bio, 100K in 90 days. Whew, everybody's going to be like, how did you do that? So really quick, before we kind of dig more into your background, would love to hear on that ebook. Was it something that you spent so much time and research and energy, or was it something that you just kind of wanted to create, put it out into the world because you thought some people needed it, and then it kind of took off?
So my story goes, before I was doing this, I was in the music industry, and I had 3 artists that I was managing, right? And that was cool. It was going great. However, it was not making money. So I had to leave. I was doing that for 4 years, and I did it right after college. I didn't get a job. I went straight into entrepreneurship. And as I said, it was cool. We were in New York. I was doing things for my artists. I got them verified. I got them on TV, all that stuff, but no money, no consistent money was coming in. Definitely not livable, nothing livable. So I had to pivot. I had to get a job. And that's when I moved to Virginia. And then that's when I started my page, because I was like, I still want to make multiple streams of income for myself. So I released that ebook because someone hit me up when I first started my page, and they were like, oh, I'll pay you $500 a month to make social media graphics for me. And I was like, cool, I'll do that. And then that's when the ebook idea sparked, because I was like, wow, I just got paid on a whim like $500 extra a month just from social media. And so that's what my ebook was about. It was called From Instagram to Instant Money, and how people could grow their following, make money from, their resources and everything. So that's how the ebook was born.
I love it. And so organic. And I think sometimes when people try to create an ebook or a download or a course or something, they really try to force it, right? And this was not forced. This came out of something very organic, very natural. How did you see, when you really saw oh my gosh, I'm making thousands of dollars off of this $20 product? What did you have in place, or what did you change as it, 90 days is a rapid period of time to, bring in 100K. So did you monitor and adjust? Were you doing ads, those kind of things? I'm sure people are wondering.
So yeah, I was doing a combination of a lot of things. One, I was consistent. I showed up every day and I posted every single day. And then when I did have a post, it was valuable content. So as I was saying in the beginning stages of my Instagram account, I was sharing personal finance tips. And I realized that resonated a lot more than me just posting a living room. or whatever house I was showcasing at the time. So people really resonated with the personal finance tips, and that's when I went that direction. And because the content was so valuable, it was easily shareable and really impacted people and taught them something. So then my content strategy switched up to be, provide valuable content, right? But simultaneously, while I was providing good content, I had a hashtag strategy that I was doing, and I was doing weekly promotions. I would, get shout outs on other pages that had a following. That helped with the growth tremendously because I also went from 0 to 100,000 followers in 4 months. So it was a combination of good content, hashtags, and shout outs.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure some people are thinking, holy shit, I want to grow 100,000 in, 4 months. So when did you start this page?
March of last year.
So March of 2020.
Yep.
And I think this just goes to show in some way, I want to see what you think about this. The less you try so hard, the more it's probably going to translate. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, potentially, right? Yeah. And I think the one thing about your content is you do create such educational and shareable content that as you were posting, I mean, you were probably seeing, actually, yes, you were seeing viral growth. And that's just so rapid. How did you deal with that growth too in such a short amount of time?
Well, honestly, it was a lot because I would also get like 30 messages, 30 DMs a day of people asking me questions and follow-up stuff on my content. So that was a lot. And I have recently hired my first virtual assistant at the beginning of this year.
Congrats.
But besides that, it was a lot to juggle. I would have to spend an hour at least minimum on Instagram, answering people, engaging with people, being active, trying to go on stories, whatever, plan out my captions. So I spent like an hour a day building it up, and it was a lot to juggle, especially with my 9 to 5 because I was still working.
Yeah.
I still am, but I just created a routine, and that's kind of what made it a little bit better.
I love it. So let's get into that. Let's go back a little bit. Share your background that has led you to what you're doing now today. So you said after college, you didn't go get a job. You were like, I'm going to do my own thing. Take us back there.
Yeah. So in 2016, I went to the University of Miami. That's when I graduated, and I studied entrepreneurship. So that was my major. And then I also double majored in marketing. So I already kind of had a background, in entrepreneurship and business. But I went into the music industry because I was in college. I was throwing parties for people, and I was also shooting music videos for people. I was doing like videography. And so that's when I got introduced to, I guess, the music scene of Miami. And, people asked me to manage them because I had the business sense too. And I had a good background in it. Not really, I was not experienced, but whatever. People gravitated towards that. And so I eventually picked up 3 different artists, moved to New York. And it was really good. I got, some of them, one of my artists got to open up for Rick Ross, for Travis Scott, for Meek Mill. All that was cool, but the royalties, because we were only getting paid from royalties, and I was only taking a 20% cut. So a 20% cut of $200 a month was not nothing. So I was really living off my parents, and I was getting older, and I was like, okay, like we haven't made our big break yet. And, my clock is ticking. I'm not making money, and I know I have so much potential. So that's when I pivoted. That's when I got a quote unquote real job. And I still wanted to have something else because during that time when I was making no money, I went on my own personal finance journey, and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that changed my mindset a lot on money. And then I also read this book called The Automatic Millionaire, and I was like, wow, like I learned about stocks, I learned about like budgeting, saving,
Retirement.
Yeah, literally everything. Retirement. I learned all of those things while I was making $0 because I was like, I want to make money, right?
Yeah.
And that's when I got my job, and that's when I started the Instagram, and that's when the ebook came out, and then all of a sudden I'm up six figures from all that information that led up to that point.
That's amazing. Why real estate? Why did you get into real estate? Were you like, this sounds lucrative and you like that commission's pretty big, or what was your thought?
Yeah, I did have those thoughts, not gonna lie. Because last year, January, I was like, okay, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income,
We hear that
right?
all the time.
I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, how am I gonna get 7 streams of income? And I got into real estate because my friend was actually a realtor, and I saw her doing her thing, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna get into it. Like, why not? It'll be something extra on the side that can make me money whenever I feel like. It's not really my full-time thing. It's pretty passive for me, but hey, extra money is extra money. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Absolutely incredible. I love it. I love it. And I love like your story. It's just so much more simple than people are probably thinking. Because I think honestly that's what
Maybe
it
so.
feels like. So let's jump into you work full time and now you really have a full-time business.
Mhm.
You're doing both
Yep.
and you're choosing to stay doing both. So my question would be, why
Yep.
are you choosing to do that? And then let's talk about some side hustles.
Yeah. So again, my mission was to have 7 streams of income. One of them happens to be my job, and it's still going to be that way for now. Don't know if I'm going to up and leave or when I'm going to up and leave,
Sure.
but hey, I'm just trying to get my 7 streams right. I'm just trying to, scale to 7 figures one day. So the job is nice, it's stable. I'm getting paid. Why not keep that there for a while?
Absolutely. And that's really, I mean, I totally agree with that. I mean, I was in my full time for 3 years while I was still running my business. And while it
Yep.
was tough, um, it was worth it. And
Yeah.
I mean, why would you not create two full-time incomes if you can, and if you're in a position that you
Can.
can juggle both and things like that. But let's talk about the term side hustle.
Sure.
What feelings, thoughts do you get when you hear someone say side hustle? Because I know I have my own thoughts, feelings, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Um, Honestly, like I'm not bothered by the word or anything. I think everyone should have a side hustle. Everyone should not rely on one source of income, because if this pandemic has taught us anything, is that relying on one source of income can leave, just as fast as it came. So you need to have multiple streams for yourself, and that side hustle can be that route for you, whether you're flipping products on eBay or you're selling thrift clothes, or I don't know, you're doing email marketing for someone on the side. Like whatever it is, I think it's important, because relying on just your employer is pretty risky in my opinion.
Which is crazy to think about, that's how we kind of have to think here in 2020. Relying on our employer can be risky. I mean, I
Yes.
I even remember I had the thought when the pandemic hit, I was still teaching full time,
Yep.
and I was an elementary music teacher. So, when coronavirus started its thing in the US, I was thinking, oh my gosh, music is actually not essential, quote unquote, potentially, to kids. Ultimately, graduating high school, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
What if they cut us?
Oh yeah.
And although education is federally funded and teachers aren't going to get cut unless it's a weird situation. But I even
Mhm.
had that thought. And I
Yeah.
was so glad that I had something else. Also, tons of people lost their jobs in 2020. And
Yes.
I mean, my husband included, but if we had not had basically 3 incomes, now we were down to 2 incomes. Okay, we're still good, right? And so really just being like extra triple prepared. I totally agree. The only reason I ask about side hustles is do you feel like sometimes people use that term or as like a belittling thing? I feel like some people, when I was in my full time, they're like, oh, your cute little side hustle or that thing you're doing on Instagram or whatever. That always kind of like bugged me. But also on the flip side, people who do have a side hustle thinking with a smaller mindset about it and them calling it small or cute or little when in fact it's a business. Like you are running a business. Yes, it is on the side of your full-time job. I don't know. Thoughts on that? I always want to ask people.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, your side hustle can be an entire business. I mean, at my stage, that's where I'm at now. So yeah, you can't think of it or have other people get into your head about it being so small or whatever, because you never know where it can go in a few months or a few years from now. So putting in that time is crucial, and you have to focus on it. You have to focus on yourself. I guess some people don't understand the power of a side hustle, which is why they might be condescending about it. But
good point.
You can't let it bother you. You can't let it get to you, because like those people are gonna be where they're at, and that's it. And you're gonna level up. So
if they're doing that or kind of quote unquote making fun of it, like I don't see you making 6 figures. I don't see you. I see you're still hating your job. Oh, have fun.
Yeah, and the thing about a side hustle is so nice is because you're 9 to 5. You can work X amount of years before you get to 6 figures, right? A side hustle has, depending on what it is, has a really big potential for that scalability. And you can, pay yourself more. Like I'm paying, like my side hustle, quote unquote, my business is making me more than my employer's paying me. So it's very possible to have that. You just gotta grind.
So let's chat about monetizing Instagram. Courses, digital products, coaching, paid opportunities, paid partnerships. How do you approach this? And what are some common questions that flood your DMs all the time?
Well, my approach is I do digital products, and I like digital products because it's such a low upfront cost. Like it cost me $3 to make that ebook that made me $100,000.
Oh my god!
So
talk about I love return on your investment.
Yes, and so I mean, eventually I had to build out like more tools, I guess, to support the amount of like money that was coming in, the amount of inquiries I was getting, or whatever. But that initial investment was literally $3, like $3. And so and that's only because I didn't have Canva Pro. So I had to pay for like little icons or whatever.
That's so funny. That's so funny to me.
So now I'm just like, I'm such a digital product advocate because it's low upfront cost, and it was like recession proof because I made that money in the middle of this pandemic. So I saw that power, and I was like, okay, like I'm going to get into courses now, and I'm going to get into coaching now. And yeah, that's my approach on Instagram monetizing. But one of the questions I get all the time is, do you need to have 1 million followers before you start seeing money? And I'm like, no, you do not. You do not.
Y'all, my eyes are rolling.
Because people are already confused by that. They're like, oh, like Instagram pays you to make money. And I'm like, no. I sell things
on Instagram.
Yes, I sell things. And they're like, oh, okay, that's what monetizing means. And I'm like, yeah.
Let's start there with the basics.
And yeah, you don't need 1 million followers. Again, I started at 1,000 followers. I put out that $20 ebook, and I grossed 30,000 the first month.
Yep.
So yeah. You can start with anything at any time.
Absolutely. I have a handful of my clients right now. I'm trying to think. Yeah. That barely utilize Instagram in the way that you think you should by posting all the time and doing videos and stories and blah, blah, blah. But they are like, one of my clients just signed a $50,000 contract proposal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they communicated with her through like the DMs on Instagram. And so it's just wild. It's absolutely wild. And
Yep.
she has, less than 1,000 followers. And then there's other, other people that I've worked with, or other friends, or people that you and I both know. They don't have 10,000 followers, or they don't have 100,000 followers, and they're well over six-figure earners. They're, thought leaders in their industry, all of those things. So the days of what the numbers are and the vanity metrics are gone.
Oh, there.
And I think though, on the flip side, and I know you've done some paid partnerships, on the flip side of that, sometimes brands and corporations still look at if they're not quite up to date with how people are really utilizing social media. They still look at, do you have 10,000 followers? Do you have 100,000 followers? Do you have this? Do you have that? When in reality, it's the quality, it's the relationships, it's the engagement, and it's the really conversion that person has the ability to do. Have you seen that, or do you kind of resonate with that as far as like partnerships go?
Yeah, because followers don't necessarily mean anything.
They
To
don't.
be real, you have to go deeper. You have to see
Mm-hmm.
what's the engagement rate of this page, and how responsive are their followers. Like there's a thing called micro influencers now. Like you don't need 100,000 followers to get paid by these big brands.
No, you
They're
don't.
actually looking for more people that are like in their community, like
Yes.
embedded. So yeah, I 100% agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So one thing that I see you talking about too is obviously like investing and saving, and I saw you recently talk about something called Nerd Wallet, all those things. How do you suggest, you probably get this question about building wealth beyond just, paying yourself and building a business that's profitable. So what are some of those things you recommend to people as far as building wealth for their lives?
So I'm a huge investing advocate, and I mean that in many ways. So whether you want to have a rental property or whether you want to be in the stock market, I think those things are mandatory. If you're trying to build wealth, if you're trying to be a millionaire, if you're trying to retire a millionaire, your job is probably not going to get you there. So you're going to need to own things, and so investing in the stock market, like for me, I have this automation setup. So every time I get a check, 20%, or really I think more so 15% of whatever my check is, goes automatically into my stocks, goes automatically into my brokerage account. So I don't have to think about it, and my money's just compounding, and it's making money off money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a really big advocate for that. And then getting in real estate, that's another way you can build your net worth quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get into owning things, whether that's a business, whether that's ATM machines, whether that's like stocks. You got to get into it.
Yeah. Do you work with a financial advisor, like all those things? Nope.
I don't.
Nope.
I don't. I've done my own research though. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Sounds like it.
self-educated. I read books. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still continuing education,
Mm-hmm.
but no, at this point, I don't have a financial advisor.
Yeah. And I think that's what people think you have to do is like get a financial advisor before you ever think about like investing in stocks or whatever. But I mean, there is so much education out there right now, especially with people like you, that you can go learn from other people, learn from experts who are doing it and practicing, especially in the stock market, which I am not well versed in at all, but learn how to do that, and start small, and just,
Start small. Another misconception is that, oh, the stock market, you need a lot of money to make money. And it's like, no, if you deposit $50 a week, I promise you will be straight.
yeah.
Like you're going to be fine. You can start with $10. There are
Yeah.
stocks that are $3 a piece. Like,
right.
do it, and then you'll see your money grow.
Right. Over time.
So, yep.
I love it. One last question before we kind of wrap up. How can we save money and spend money like we want and need to as we're growing our business? So just to kind of expand on this. Oftentimes, especially as our business is growing, we're like, oh, I need to invest in, this coach or this service, or like you said, you just hired a VA this year. But also saving money, not only, paying taxes as self-employed, things like that, but like having a cushion with our business money too. What are those things that you think of, common things you're telling people?
Well, to be honest, I am now learning how to manage my business expenses a lot better, because I, again, rapidly grew to six figures, and I didn't even qualify last year to pay taxes. So now I'm like everything, and pay my taxes for the first time ever last year. Uh, and I'm now getting a business account. I don't even have business credit yet. I'm now like, getting the LLC and whatever, and like doing it all the right way. So my advice is you could start with anything and get really formalized later. But in terms of managing money, you're gonna have to have a chunk that gets pushed away just for taxes. I had to learn that the hard way. So definitely manage that. And then I also follow this rule called the 50-30-20 rule. And this is more like for personal finance, but maybe it can apply to businesses. But 50% of the money you make goes to needs. So whether that's your mortgage or gas or food or whatever, 30% can go to wants, and maybe that's like you taking a night out on the town with your husband or whoever. And then that last 20% gets invested and or saved. So that's the rule that I follow, and I'm always tracking my money, how much I make, where my expenses go. Not the most formal way, but I just try to keep track of everything, and I try to follow that rule.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be fancy. It's just like, do you have a way that you're keeping track of it? I know for a long time, I was terrible at that. And then I was like, okay, it's time to dig into QuickBooks and like get this right, get my shit together.
I'm in that process now.
And like, that's a common misconception too, is like, we're all finding the best practices and route for ourselves. And so, but yeah, you have to be tracking what's coming in, what's going out, why are you spending this, what is, all of those things, so that you can especially look back, at the end of the month and see where everything went and assess and plan for the next month. Right. And the hope is that you don't always have to do that, because, you're set up for success. Like, where your money's going. Like you said, you have an automatic thing that, whatever you said, like puts money,
automatic transfers. Yeah.
Right. I have that set up for our joint banking account with me and my husband. I have, but it's just, it goes to our savings account, and that set up for my business account. I know when I get my own paycheck, when I pay myself on that schedule, I put, X amount into savings from each paycheck, so that I don't have to think about it. Right. And it's just, I never saw it, so I didn't miss it. Right. So I love it. Well, this has been really great, really helpful. Any like last tips, things that you see people doing that you want to share?
Sure. So this is more so like mindset. And I realize a lot of people are like, oh, I have to have like the perfect product before I launch it. And I just want to say that you don't have to be perfect when you start, but you have to start. Yeah. And so that perfectionism is really holding a lot of us back. You could do your best. Even the biggest brands today, they'll put out a new product and then they're going to have issues with it. They're going to have problems. They might have glitches, whatever product it is. Like, you have to understand that perfect does not exist. But you can do your best to get there, but don't let that hold you back. So that's my lasting advice.
I literally just was crafting some content the other day, and I mean, I've said it before, but I'm gonna keep saying it. Like, just start, just do something. You can Google and research and learn and absorb, but
Yep.
if that's all you're doing, then this is a hobby.
Yeah.
You need to do something. You need to take action and get started. Oh my gosh. Well, Ariel, how can people connect with you? Are you launching anything right now? How can people like go buy something from you, support you, all those things?
So if y'all want that blueprint I was talking about earlier about monetizing your Instagram, scaling whatever offer you have, whether that's a product or a service, to 6 figures by leveraging Instagram, then I would recommend my course, Selling from Scratch. You can get that. You can follow me at The Money Realtor on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. Or you can go to my website in order to access it. It's arielcarr.com.
Amazing. Awesome. And spell that for us. Ariel Carr, spell that out for us.
So ARIELCARR.
2 R's. Okay, perfect.
Yep.
All right.
That's my new
name. Yeah. So awesome. I love it. Well, and you're on Clubhouse. Yep.
I am.
Clubhouse is popping.
Yeah, y'all can follow me there.
Go follow, listen, get some value, be able to possibly ask her questions in rooms that she's hosting and moderating in. Clubhouse is like the best new thing you can do to build your business right now, for sure. And we didn't even talk about it, but I'm sure, honestly, I want to do a whole other episode of Clubhouse. But thank you so much for coming on the Girl Gang podcast. We really appreciate you. You guys go connect with Ariel on Instagram, Clubhouse, all the things. And thank you for listening. Rate, subscribe, tell your friends. You know this is an awesome show. And we'll see you next time.